Right, I think this might be quite a vulnerable share, but I've been asked by a few people to expand a little bit on the succubus and incubus energies. And I think basically where I'd want to start is everything is spirit. And so a lot of us are in part of this collective awakening right now, and so we really don't just see things in the 3D anymore. We see things much beyond the physical plane. I was just about to tap on my knee, but we see a thing beyond the physical elements. And with everything that I've moved through, and obviously near-death experiences bring you to a different frequency, different space in time, and sort of I'm finding the people that I gravitate towards and the conversations that I'm having at the minute are people that have been through different types of trauma and have healed and know the darkness in a different way to those who haven't. And you know, there's no judgment, we all have got our own wounding from across the ages, and that's just a big part of the sort of the collective healing now, is a lot of the generational healing's coming up because the ancestors are speaking through people. Me, I'm obviously here for the ancestors, my ancestors, and I've got messages to give. And so without going on a tangent, because this has gone way off where I wanted to go, is with everything being spirit, and there's being a spiritual warfare on now, and that is where people are talking about World War III or whatever. It's already started and it's in the ethers. So whether things manifest in the physical, obviously the violence and everything that's happening around the world is horrific to experience, but this has been long predetermined and long unraveling for a long time in the spirit. That's why a lot of us, if we consider ourselves, you know, messengers or just on specific paths that we sort of surrender to, we've been tested. We've, you know, for me, Jamaica was the test. It's the make or break with the people, the light warriors, the light workers, the shamans, whoever, whatever we consider ourselves as on this path, awakened ones or whatever. Which is a continual like a continual awakening, you know. I'm not saying I'm awakened, because I just think we continue to grow and learn every day. There's so much to see at the minute. It's quite an incredible encyclopedia of learning, really. But we've all had, a lot of us have sort of been having our tests from maybe 2012 up till now, and we're all sort of finding our place in this sort of spiritual puzzle that is coming together, and the light is you know, taking hold in beautiful ways, but obviously the darkness is creeping and taking hold in its own, in that sort of way. And sorry, I didn't explain that very well. There is a lot of darkness coming up because of the healing and the shadow work that people are taking, and just because of the revelation times and things that we're moving through. And so while I've been on this sort of while spell work and things and warlocks and weird stuff was happening around me from probably about 2022 to now, although it's once we know it, we can control it and we can spiritually protect ourselves. But I'm talking to the point where I wasn't aware of it. I was being sent succubus and incubus demons, sex demons, and was having things attack me in the night when I was asleep. Presence that push your whole body down and try to enter the body. And so if we do believe, and I'm speaking to anybody, it's okay if you don't think that I'm talking any sense to you, that's all right, but I'm speaking to the people that resonate with what I'm saying and are also experiencing things and want to support their own journey and healing and protection with this kind of knowledge, is everything spirit. So when there is more dark or more fire, more aggression, more anger, and the spirit takes hold of people, you know, people showing more anger at the minute, people showing more, we are showing more angst and various things, spirit will take hold in wherever we are weak. So if we are emotional, if we are oversensitive, or if we are, I don't like the word oversensitive because I do think sensitive is a superpower. So if we worry, or if we have anxiety, or if we fear, which I don't believe in, any of those things, wherever we have weakness, the spirits will come in. The spirits of greed, the spirit of, you know, like, for example, the sex demons, incubus and succubus demons, for me, I have a very strong sacral chakra, I have a very strong sexuality, very strong energy there. And back in the day, I didn't know how to harness that. And so on their records, or in the records in the ethers, that will be, especially, it might be because I've been celibate for probably coming up to 8-9 months now, I'm being tested and send things my way. And, you know, there's various things that you can do to, I mean, I do swear, so it's a big old slap, fuck off, get away from me. But there are various things that come up. So it's important that if we do start to feel anything or feel the darkness take over, is to start practicing loving and self-care tools and practices and spiritual cleansing. And it's not about all the sage, it's just purification. The mind is the strongest thing. Excuse me, yeah, I've got a lot of stuff coming up. Had a nice sauna session this morning, and this is kind of sparked from some of the conversations that we were having, and people talking about being visited by various spirits and things entering the body and us having to fight them. So it's this is not said from fear. I don't fear anything. I'm on a love vibration, but we will be tested. And so once we overcome the biggest challenges of our lives, we can then obviously support ourselves and support those around us who might be sharing or experiencing the same kind of things. And so with the spiritual health and the spiritual cleansing, that's why it's really important that we know we are spirit beings before anything else on this journey, because everything happens in the spirit before it happens in the physical. So where all of us have been feeling, I say all of us, like people, whatever, people that believe we're on a mission, and it's okay if others don't believe us, we know what we've got to do. We've been dealing with things before, now things will start to manifest in the physical. And so this is just you know, people don't like truth speakers, people don't like me, whatever, you know, I'm only triggering other people's demons because I'm shining light on areas that people don't want to talk about. And they're real things. I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to come back from Jamaica after a crazy ass experience. I still love the place. And decide to nomad in London and outside of London, being housed by people to do the healing work for various things. I didn't just make all that up to get attention. I haven't just decided I'm going to lie about a spiritual awakening and that incubus and succubus demons are real. It's happened to me. I'm the more lucid and most clear-headed I've ever been in my entire life, the happiest, the most pure. Again, not purist, I have my naughty, funny days and moments and things, but when I say this stuff, I couldn't be more happy to share about it, really, because I know that this is a weakness, a vulnerability of the people, and that's how they get us, because it's the weakness and the vulnerabilities that we are masking and repressing, that is how various people can get possessed by certain spirits. And there is nothing to fear. If we know our intentions are pure and our mission is love and we are good to people and we don't lie, and what we do behind closed doors is, you know, if there was a camera there, it wouldn't say anything bad about our character. But a lot of people do a lot of dark, dirty shit, and they also film and record people like me. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that route because that's just an old story now, an old history. I'm part of the new paradigm. I'm part of new emerging narratives right now who want to be here for the people, because the people are left behind. Like, we have more power than anyone no, I won't say that. We have so much power. Should we decide to group together, we have more power than anybody can imagine in the whole universe. And so that's just up to us if we decide to claim it or not. I'm not saying everybody has to quit this or that and that, but if we did decide to not do things for one full entire day, the message and the power that we could send is phenomenal. And that's what they're trying to avoid everybody from doing, is they try to control and manipulate people with fear. And so when I share stories about spirit or demons being sent your way and things like that, and that's why it's really mindful, we have to be careful with the words that we speak, because we are just in constant communication with the spirit world. And there are loads of restless souls that haven't been able to find a calm moment in time beyond this physical existence because of the ways they've left the world, or because of the things that they've had to carry and endure across the ages. And I'm just here for them, and I would always respect and send love. And well, they don't need love, but they just need an acknowledgement. Everybody wants to be seen in the physical, just like everybody wants to be seen in the spirit. That's why people make rackets and noises if you hear things in your room and things are haunted. Haunting is not necessary. It's just, people want attention. Spirits want attention. And so it's important that if we are experiencing anything like happened to me a while ago, is the incubus and succubus demons, when you go to sleep and you experience very, very weird things, just maintain the spiritual health. Like, as long as the vessel is clean as much as possible. There are spirits around us all the time, so I would just love, this is just 1055 155. This is a message of love and preparation, because things will arise this year in the ways that they need to, and I trust if we can harness and find the love and light inside, nothing can find or enter a weak point in our physical, spiritual, auric field. This body is, yes, we look after it and it will take us to a ripe old age, but it's the spirit. It's our spiritual body, it's our soul work. That's why society, we've lacked, nobody educates anyone. We are not educated about soul work, soul retrieval, soul fragmentation. And that is why a lot of us are so wounded when we come into this realm, because we've not been able to repair things that have happened to us in traumatic times, ways we died in different realms. And I know this because of what I've experienced, and I've been told to talk about it. And that's why the healing's important, and knowing our divine power, so we can do it all ourselves. Yes, we might need support, and I'm not saying everybody needs to be a lone wolf or do things on our own. That's just how my life has panned out, and I love and I long for intimacy and companionship and partnership, but it arrives when it arrives. We ain't here desperate. There's always something else to do, something else to focus on. I'm not a lonely person. Lonesome days come, but then music and other things lift us out of that, and we just have to be real about this life. We're much stronger than anybody has ever told us. And so as we, all of us as a spiritual awakening community, we can just continue to talk about practices that help us on an individual level. Like, what helps me might not help somebody else, but we can all find what works for us. Our souls, our blueprints. I'm very connected to sound and frequencies. That is just part of how I'm going to support the healing of the nations. That's my blueprint. Other people will be very driven by other things, like farmers or, swimmers. Everybody will be drawn to something as their blueprint. Animals, animal welfare activists, and just beautiful people doing lots of amazing personal missions 1313 around the globe, and I honour them. Just they've listened to their calling. They have found joy in the ways that they've needed to, and they are supporting the healing of the nations, because we've got to a point now where people have lost purpose and power because they've tried to repress and suppress and oppress, and it's important that we come back to that soul work and that shadow work. Know thyself, knowing thyself, because we can supersede anything that's happening in the external. Like, it's all a game. It's a fake show. And I'm not saying we don't need to be pragmatic, practical, grounded in the physical realm. We still have to move in the ways that we've moved here. But things happen and occur in the spirit before they happen in the physical. That's why these conversations are being had before, like in the storm. Like we've not chatted about that before, but I think it's beautiful. Women of all ages, or this, I just say women because we're women only day to day. But more of us, the more I get onto this path, I'm seeing fallen angels and warriors, and I'm activating them, and they're giving me information, and it's an exchange of energy from whatever spiritual gifts we have. I've meeting very, very many seers, very powerful souls at the minute, that also don't know their own power. And I'm just here not to sleep on myself anymore. So 1444. So I think that let's start to continue these let's start to continue. Let's continue these conversations, and if they're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable, but we have to get to the point where we don't fear anything. It's not real. There is nothing to fear. We're either alive or we're dead. You know, stress is the killer. This is why people are suffering and struggling so much, because that's all energetic. Cancer, spirit, stress, that's an energetic in the auric field. So we need to address that in the soul, like, where are we displaced? How can we find our purpose or our mission? And then as soon as we start to get on that path, everything, all the unsettled, restless energy in our field just dissipates, and we get calm, and we find clarity, and we find peace, and we find love, and love in ourselves. And that's why we don't go around being desperate and needing to be with something. Of course, it's lovely. Yes, that is the aim one day, is to be in partnership, but we are love. Don't need it from somebody else. Just want to share, just want to exchange, but we are love. So if we know that we're love, no one can take anything from us. This is some full battery here, you know. And when we get depleted, now because we know ourselves, then we pull back, and we have to say to people, no, it's a month of quiet, or I've got to dip out, or I've got to do this, or I've got to connect with the elements that way. But you know, if you're called to read about succubus and incubus, or soul fragmentation across the ages, and whether we believe it or not, like, it might just be something interesting to read, but things always happen in the spirit before they manifest in the physical. And having experienced incredibly insane attacks in the spiritual for the past couple of years, to the point now that I know no one would mess with me. I mean, people will be silly and they'll try, but they'll just, you know, they'll get a whoop without me even lifting a finger. So yeah, I don't know, I went somewhere then, so I can't really remember what I was saying. 17 on the clock, 188, number 8. This is a fantastic year. It is going to be really powerful. It will shock a lot of people, but we have the power. We have the power. We have the power.